In a dusty village surrounded by dry fields and quiet hills, lived a boy named Iqbal. He was 13. His world was small. Just a cracked house with no electricity, a mother with tired hands, and an old radio that only worked when the wind was kind. His father had passed away when he was little, and his mother worked as a cleaner in a town 2 hours away. They had no extra clothes, barely enough food, and no one who believed they would ever escape poverty. No one, except Iqbal. Every day, Iqbal would sit on the rooftop at sunset, watching the sky burn orange, and whisper to himself, "Someday, this sky will belong to me. Not as a dream, but as truth." At school, he was the boy with worn-out shoes and ink-stained fingers. Other kids laughed at him. "Why do you study so hard?" they'd say. "You're just a cleaner's son. People like us don't become anything." Iqbal never argued. He just smiled and said, "That's your truth, not mine." One day, the school announced a national science competition. The winner would receive a scholarship to study in the city, something unheard of in Iqbal's village. Everyone assumed it was for the rich kids in big cities. But Iqbal didn't. He found an old book in the school library about solar panels and energy. He read it under a broken bulb, using the light from a street lamp that flickered outside. For weeks, he built his model using garbage, tin cans, wires from broken radios, glass from shattered windows. He didn't have tools, just imagination. His teacher saw him once and laughed kindly. "Iqbal, you're clever. But this is too big. It's okay to try, but don't expect anything." Iqbal looked up with calm eyes and said, "Sir, if I already believe I can't, then why begin at all?" The day of the competition arrived. Iqbal stood on a stage in the city, small, nervous, and surrounded by students with perfect uniforms and perfect models. When he presented, the judges were silent. His model was clumsy, but it worked. It generated real power. And his explanation was full of hope, vision, and belief. He didn't speak like a boy. He spoke like a future leader. Later that evening, as the sun set behind the city buildings, Iqbal sat alone outside, waiting for the bus back to his village. He thought, maybe they didn't like it. Maybe I looked foolish. Just then, a woman with gray hair and a blue sari approached him. She was one of the judges. She handed him an envelope and smiled. "You reminded me of someone I used to be," she said. He opened the envelope. Winner. Full scholarship. Housing. Uniform. Books. Future. He didn't cry. He just looked up at the sky and whispered, "Told you." Years passed. Iqbal became an engineer. He returned to his village, not to visit, but to transform. He built schools. He installed solar panels on rooftops. He trained young minds. And on the gate of the new learning center, in bold letters, he wrote, "The sky is not the limit, your thinking is." Moral of the story. Your circumstances may be poor, but your thinking can be rich. A positive mind isn't blind to reality, it builds new realities. The world changes first in your thoughts, and then in your actions. Let's learn some words from this story. Cracked house, meaning a house with broken walls or structure, showing damage, old age, or poor condition. Example: he lived in a cracked house with no electricity. He lived in a damaged and broken down house with no electricity. Tired hands, meaning hands that are sore, weak, or aching from hard work or exhaustion. Example: his mother had tired hands from working all day. His mother had aching and weak hands from working all day. Worn out, meaning very old, used too much, and almost broken or useless. Example: he wore worn-out shoes that had holes in them. He wore very old and damaged shoes that had holes in them. Flickering street lamp, meaning a light that turns on and off quickly, often weak or unstable. Example: he studied under a flickering street lamp at night. He studied under a shaking and unsteady streetlight at night. Poverty, meaning the condition of being extremely poor. Example: his life was surrounded by poverty, but his thoughts were rich. His life was surrounded by extreme poorness, but his thoughts were rich. Distant honking of cars, meaning faint sound of traffic far away, used to show city life or contrast. Example: he sat quietly outside with the distant honking of cars around him. He sat quietly outside while soft traffic noises from far away surrounded him.